afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you had a great Christmas yesterday, and welcome back once again to our daily English news edition. I'm Daniel Cook, your host, Monday through Saturday, presenting a translated version of today's top news stories. Prime Minister Rama, the Assembly Speaker Ilir Meta, the Minister of Justice Yuli Manjani, and the heads of the parliamentary groups held a 3-hour meeting today to discuss the changes to the judicial reform draft and the opinions of the Venice Commission. After the meeting, the Assembly Speaker and the Prime Minister appeared to be optimistic about a consensual finalization of the judicial reform. Mr. Rama had this to say: "We discussed several topics. One of our objectives is the progress of the justice reform. We shared our satisfaction that the Democratic Party joined in the reform. We must now finalize the reform based on the Venice Commission recommendations. Altogether, we must give the country its long-awaited reform. We must work for a comprehensive, deep, and qualitative process," said Prime Minister Rama. The Assembly Speaker Ilir Meta expressed praise for the proposals of the opposition and declared that the reform will be adopted by spring. He made the following comments. "First of all, we should recognize the great job that has been done so far. There has been a comprehensive process from all parties, including the opposition, which contributed with its own proposals. I want to specifically thank the local and international experts for their work and commitment. I also want to thank the Venice Commission for responding in record time to all of our questions and for bringing the interim evaluations. The Venice Commission is a valuable support for this reform. Absolutely all the political stakeholders, the majority and the opposition, are satisfied with the evaluations of the Venice Commission. This shows that finalizing this reform by spring is completely feasible," declared Mr. Meta. "It seems like the parties are finally finding some common ground, as the Democratic Party has guaranteed its vote in favor of the reform. Even still, they are far from reaching full consensus, as they do not share the same attitude on multiple elements of the reform. There are also a number of issues for which consensus with the SMI is needed." Serbia's Interior Minister Stefanovic said on Saturday that a comprehensive police operation in the fight against corruption has resulted in the arrest of 79 people. Among them are a former minister, 2 assistant ministers, directors of public companies, and businessmen, and it has been released that the economic damage they caused was over €100 million. In a press conference in Belgrade, Stefanovic said that their investigations had been ongoing since 2004, and the operation will continue. He gave warning that no one would be spared from justice. The largest part of the investigation was conducted over the past year, and most of the fraudulent activity was in connection to the construction of property. According to Stefanovic, the suspects are facing corruption charges for being involved in a number of criminal activities, ranging from money laundering and abuse of position to forgery of documents and bribery. He said that 5 suspects remain at large, and another 39 are still under investigation. This is the biggest operation aimed at halting corruption and financial crimes in recent history, and Stefanovic says that it is the country's biggest anti-corruption investigation in decades. It concerns alleged offenses dating back for more than a decade. The road accidents in 2015 have increased by 15.8% compared to the third quarter of 2014. The most recent INSTAT data shows that despite the stricter penalties for traffic offenses, the number of accidents remains high. INSTAT reveals that there were 586 accidents in this quarter, and that there was a significant increase in the number of injuries. There were 733 people injured in auto accidents this quarter, which is 19.4% higher than the same period of last year. Women are the category that got in the most car accidents, with an increase of 34.3%. In many of the cases, the accidents have been the result of high speeds and the failure to use turn signals, but some have also been caused by faulty road infrastructure. Special attention will be paid to road safety in 2016, and the fund of 12 billion lek that has been given to the Ministry of Transport is supposed to be spent primarily on infrastructure. The aim is to reduce the number of road accidents by improving the street signs, removing blind spots, and completing the work on several main road segments. The municipality of Tirana is negotiating with the government on a special fund in 2016 to expropriate the landowners affected by the extension of the new boulevard and the Central Park. The amount of the fund has not yet been made public, but the Vice Mayor Arbian Mazniku says that the municipality needs the support of the government in order to finally solve the problem of expropriation. He said, "The issue of expropriations in that area is the responsibility of the municipality, and we are getting support from the central government to carry out the expropriations in the fastest time possible. We have recently negotiated a special fund for the expropriations in these areas. It is still under discussion, and we will make it public together with the new budget. We aspire to finish the bulk of the boulevard and the work on the river by December of next year," Mazniku said. Dozens of homes and businesses near the former train station have collapsed due to the work on the new boulevard. The residents have opposed the compensation price set by the Council of Ministers of the Berisha government, which is 26,000 lek per square meter. The work continues, but the owners have not yet received an answer on what is going to happen in terms of compensation. The residents have protested several times and held meetings with the mayor of Tirana. They argue that the government needs to change its original decision on compensation values and then allocate funds to the local government units and allow them to solve this problem that has been plaguing them for several years now. There is an increasing demand in the foreign market for olive oil, one of Albania's exports. During a visit to the olive oil factory in Fier, the Minister of Agriculture, Edmond Panariti, made the statement that there is currently high demand from China, Hong Kong, and Russia for olive oil. According to the minister, the increased demand is because of the modernization of olive oil production lines. He said, "Now the factories for producing olive oil are reaching contracts with the farmers. They buy the olives, providing a secure market for the producers." Accompanied by the SMI MP for Fier, Minister Panariti visited a number of olive oil factories, sauce factories, and other agricultural production sites. The travel agencies are saying that the Albanians are traveling less this year than they did a year ago. According to them, this is because of the threat of terrorism and the economic situation. The citizens say that they have less income than they did a year ago and cannot afford to travel abroad for vacation. Yet the tourist agencies have not changed the prices of their packages since last year. One industry rep had this to say, "There are no major changes in terms of touristic packages. The Albanians have all been focused on their summer vacations. We have clients who go on vacation twice a year, but going on vacations twice a year is too much for most Albanians. There are some who do this, but this does not mean that it is the trend of the country. The data shows that the neighboring countries like Macedonia and Montenegro are the primary destinations chosen by the Albanians for this year's winter holidays." The newly restored Church of St. Thanas in Karavasta was inaugurated on Christmas Day. Built in 1778 and listed as a cultural monument of the first category, the church was restored thanks to an investment of 7 million lek from the Ministry of Culture. On Christmas Day, the Minister of Culture Mirela Kumbaro, the Socialist MP Erion Brace, and the architect Max Velo visited the restored premises of the church in Karavasta of Lushnja. Minister Kumbaro promised to include the church on the list of places where the artists from the Theater of Opera and Ballet will perform in the future. The architect Max Velo and the Lushnja MP Erion Brace expressed esteem for the church and its 500 unique icons. According to them, the church will attract tourism. Its frescoes were painted by the brothers John and George Catro. Thanks again for being with us today for our English News Edition. We hope that you will have a great weekend, and please join us again on Monday. Have a good night.